So last week I covered the developmental groups, and since then I've received a lot of requests for me to cover the rest of the groups, and I reviewed them actually on my Facebook group through photos and memes. But I do know that many of you here are auditory learners, listening to them on your commute, and many of you are simply sick and tired of reading at this point. So I decided to spend a quick few minutes to go over the rest of the groups. And I'm going to start with the two that are often confused and mixed up, and that's the task-oriented group and the thematic group. Let's talk about the task-oriented group. The reason why I think people mix this up, and I used to do it too, is because of the word task. When we look at the word task, we assume, because it's in the name, that the purpose of the goal or purpose of the group would then be to complete a task. But that's not true. Task in a task-oriented group is simply a means by which we facilitate and explore our thoughts and our feelings so that we can enhance our self-awareness and insight, so we can practice and learn new behavior. We want to understand how we operate. We want to understand what we're feeling, how we're thinking, and we can often do that through a task. I want you to think of what you do when you want to explore your own thoughts and feelings. For me, and I use this in my video on my Facebook, I like to drink wine because wine always helps me to open up, and I will either journal or I'll paint, but I'll engage in some sort of task which allows me to bring forth and unearth things that I might have suppressed or may not have wanted to think about in the past. And some of you, or many of you, maybe all of us do that. We engage in an activity so that we could think about our days and reflect on them. And that's what happens in a task-oriented group. And when you think of it that way, you won't mistake task as the goal, but as simply a means to facilitate this process that allows you to enhance self-awareness. What frame of reference does this sound like? If you said psychodynamic, you are correct. Okay, so think of a task-oriented group and know that a task is not the most important component, but a means to an end. So the process here of self-exploration of thoughts, feelings, and behavior is the most important thing, and that's the purpose of the group. Versus a thematic group is the opposite. This is where task, a tangible end product, is actually important through a structured and graded activity. So in a thematic group, and I used this meme on the Facebook, which was Thrive with Thematic. And I posed the question, what helps you thrive in your day-to-day life? For me, it's a sense of competence and confidence that only comes when I feel skilled enough to perform what I need to do. If you don't have the skills, knowledge, or attitude to do your job, would you feel confident or competent? No. So in this group, skill development is the goal, and we do that by providing an activity in a very structured, real, simulated environment, and the tangible end product is important to produce in this group. An activity might be making a bird cage or woodworking projects, or something simple, structured, and something that can be graded. So that is a thematic group. Just think Thrive with thematic. Skill development allows you to thrive. Okay? All right. Next one. Let's talk about, my mind went blank. Topical group. There are two in a topical group, concurrent and anticipatory. But before we talk about that, let's define what a topical group is. It's straightforward. Topical has the word topic. So in this group, the task itself is not an activity, but a verbal discussion. In a topical group, you come together around a topic to have a discussion about them. And if you are coming together in a group to talk about current current events outside the group, that is a concurrent group. So it might be parents coming together who want to gain support, insight, and understanding about how best to fulfill their role as a parent or caregiver with children with disability or with someone who's living with spinal cord injury, and you gain understanding and through a discussion, through a verbal discussion, versus an anticipatory group in a topical group might be a group coming together to discuss a topic for something that has not yet happened but will happen in the future. An example might be retirement planning, or in the acute inpatient unit, it might be people coming together to talk about the best methods and strategies to cope and manage and support their loved ones after discharge 1 week after they've been released from the hospital. So that's the topical group. Again, here, task is not the end goal. The task is a verbal discussion. And we have the evaluation group. This one's so straightforward, I'm not going to elaborate. Evaluation group is where you come to evaluate your group interaction, and that's the purpose of the group. And there's not much to say about that other than I think that's about what you need to know. And finally, the instrumental group. This reminds me of the people that come to the museum. Some of you know I'm a docent at a local museum here, and I see seniors coming to the museum once a week to either do a tour or to get together to eat together and socialize. In this group, your goal is to maintain the highest optimal function and quality of life through socialization, through meaningful activities. And so you're not focused on skill development, you're not focused on expressing thoughts and expressing your emotions for self-awareness. This is where you're trying to maintain optimal function and quality of life through socialization and things that are meaningful. Okay? So I hope that was helpful, and I hope this is the last time you'll have to learn the material. Hopefully it was conveyed in a way where it kind of seared into your brain. All right. If you haven't already, be sure to join my Facebook group. I cover the broad content areas on YouTube, but go over the details and the smaller content more frequently on my Facebook page and Facebook group. And so for additional resources and strategies and tips, come find me there. Okay? All right, guys, have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.